I love Lamar Stevens, and I'm not afraid to say it, man. Like, look, I understand that Lamar Stevens, he's not the dude that's going to hold it down as a starter. And he's not consistent enough and all that. And we can come up with the long list of things that Lamar Stevens could do that doesn't do well. But you know what Lamar Stevens does do well that's rare? When the game is tight, when the pressure is tight, when it's quote unquote sweaty palms time at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I hate that name, but that's the name of the arena now. It should be the Q in perpetuity, but whatever. Lamar Stevens be showing up, man. Just straight up, Lamar Stevens shows up in those moments. And this was like, he has something that analytics cannot tell you a player has, which is the dog. He got the dog in him. And it's like sometimes we say somebody got the dog in them because they make like one good shot. No, man, the dog in you is a mentality. The dog in you is that nasty. The dog in you is getting like 6 rebounds in 4 minutes. That's having that dog in you. Just unlimited hustle, will to win. Lamar Stevens was the worst player on the floor for fourth quarter and overtime when it comes to talent. He was less talented than every other player on the floor. He was less he's more talented than Luke Cornett, but Luke Cornett is like what? He's like 7'2" or whatever. He's super tall. But like, he not more talented than Malcolm Brogdon. He not more talented than Jaylen Brown. He not more talented than Marcus Smart. He not more talented than Devin White. He not more talented than Donovan Mitchell. He's not more talented than Darius Garland. He's not more talented than Isaac Okoro. He's not more talented than Evan Mobley. But he was the best player on the floor. He was the best player on the floor at the last part of the fourth quarter and overtime. Like, legitimately the best player on the floor. Donovan Mitchell was very good in crunch time. Evan Mobley was really good. But you don't win that game if you don't have Lamar Stevens play those minutes, because he refused to lose. Like, Lamar Stevens has these moments where he legitimately puts a basketball team on his back, and it is fascinating to watch because he's not talented. In the grand scheme of like NBA players, he's not super talented, but he got that want to. It reminds me of like PJ Tucker. The want to is elite, and in the playoffs, you want dudes who got that want to. And that's why I'm saying right here, I want Lamar Stevens to get consistent playoff minutes. That dude is gonna make an impact on the game. That dude is gonna win you a weird game because he just decided to be the best player on the field. Has no business being the best player on the court. Manifested it into existence. It's fascinating to watch him. Now the Cavs went down early in this game. Just didn't start off well. Honestly, they haven't been playing well since the All-Star break and the game before where they lost to Philadelphia 76ers. And that is a concern. Because let's not act like the Boston Celtics were healthy. They were missing, I think, 3 core players. They didn't have Jason Tatum. They didn't have Al Horford. And there's another player in there that did not play. I don't think Grant Williams played starter minutes like he normally would. They were shorthanded for sure. And the Cavs shouldn't have had this game be as close as it was. But we're at the point now to where we can't complain that the wins aren't pretty. We just need the wins. This brings the Cavaliers' win total to 41. Now, I think the magic number for the Cavaliers is 50. They need to get to 50. You get to 50, you'll be the 4 seed. You'll be fine. Now, what is interesting is, boy, are those New York Knickerbockers. They on your ass right now if you the Cavaliers. You needed that win because you would have lost. They would have been 1 game back. The Knicks are on your ass if you're the Cavs. So, get it together. Get it together. You have played less games than the 76ers, so you're like 4 games back at the 76ers technically. So, that 3 seed, it's a dream at this point. But the Knicks are coming. You don't want to be the 5 seed. Even though I think you could beat the Knicks if you're the 5 seed, we just don't want to risk it, right? We want a top 4 seed. We want home court in first round. We want to get to the second round. That's kind of where I'm at with the season. Evan Mobley. I mean, like, I this is one of those things where I just don't think we were patient enough with it, because people were really freaking out about Evan Mobley really early in the season because he wasn't like having point explosions. But 25 and 17, dog. 25 and 17. He had 25 and 17. That's like prime Kevin Love stuff that he's putting up now. And only on 14 shots. And I've said this, and I'll keep saying this. When Evan Mobley gets 15 shots, he gets you 20 points at least. Most of the time. He averages 20, I'm pretty sure. You know, the concern about his offense, I felt like was misguided, because he wasn't scoring more points this year at the beginning, not because he wasn't getting or wasn't able to score. He was just not getting a lot of attempts because Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland were getting integrated into the offense. Donovan Mitchell had 34 shots. So it wasn't like his most impressive 40-point game. Didn't really shoot that well from three. Made some big shots in the clutch. That's what he's there to do. And thankfully with Donovan Mitchell, the bar is high enough with him. And this is a good thing that, like, I'm not going to be impressed because he made a couple of clutch buckets and clutch free throws and scored 40 points. He's got to do more than that. He's got to be more efficient than he's been lately. And that doesn't mean he's playing bad. He's playing pretty good. I need him to go back to being excellent. He hasn't been excellent lately. He needs to go back to being excellent. He's had some excellent games in between here, but on a consistency basis, ever since that 72-point game, he really hasn't been consistently excellent like he was in the first half of the season. So I need him to go back to doing that. Darius Garland, fine night, 6 of 18 from the floor, 2 of 7 from 3, 17 points. And then Jared Allen got into foul trouble really early in this game, so he just didn't play that much. Only 26 minutes, 4 points, 6 rebounds. So Evan just kind of took over from both sides of the paint. Isaac had a fine night, 9 points. And then obviously, we talked about it at the beginning, but Lamar Stevens with the plus 18 plus or minus had 8 points, 3 of 5 from the field, and made 1 3 in overtime. 6 offensive rebounds. 2 defensive rebounds. Man had 8 rebounds in 17 minutes. He got 8 and 8. He almost got a double-double in 17 minutes. That's want to. And in the playoffs, there are going to be moments like I know that Karis LeVert is a better player than Lamar Stevens. But I would trust Lamar Stevens in a playoff game more than I trust Karis LeVert, because I feel like Karis LeVert has the tendency to kind of play smaller in those big moments. And Lamar Stevens just plays to the moment. Was dominant on defense against Jaylen Brown. This isn't the first time we've seen him do something like this. Crunch time, man. Lamar Stevens has a little bit of Draymond in him. He really does. Like, he's not Draymond Green, because Draymond Green is a Hall of Fame basketball player, and like I don't think Lamar Stevens is getting to the Hall of Fame anytime soon. But he has a little bit of Draymond in him, where, you know, like, hey, if you cannot like Draymond, and I know people in Cleveland hate Draymond, and I hated Draymond when he was like a big deal with the Warriors because he was annoying. But you hated Draymond because he was annoying. And why Draymond was annoying? Because he would just get that rebound that you needed. He would get that stupid little tip in that you needed to get the game back to 8. He would make a 3 out of nowhere. Remember Game 7? Like, he was the only dude on the Warriors balling on Game 7. I think he put up like 35 or something like that. Like, when the chips are down, Draymond plays up to a level, at least in his prime. He ain't in his prime no more. He's kind of cooked. But the point still remains is that, you know, Lamar Stevens got a little bit of that Draymond in him where, look, he's not going to impress you every night, but when it matters, when the game matters, when it matters within the game, something in him unlocks and he becomes really good. I continue to be fascinated by Lamar Stevens. I really do. And I think Lamar Stevens has a lot to offer this team in the playoffs. And I think if the Cavs continue to become a better team and they're competing at a higher level next year and they're really like becoming real championship contenders, maybe that unlocks something in Lamar Stevens. Maybe that does flip the Draymond switch for him. But he got a little bit of that Draymond in him, right? That big game Dre in him. He's got that. You know, he's not the most talented player on the floor, but somehow he finds a way to consistently make an impact in big moments. And that's the kind of dude I want to have out there in the playoffs. I worry that he's not going to get any playoff minutes, and I think that would be a mistake. I think he has something to offer this team in the playoffs. I really do. It sounds crazy, but I really think he has something to offer this team in a playoff rotation that we're not going to get from some of the other guys off this bench. And for a team that's searching for any kind of impact off the bench, especially in the playoffs, I think it would be a disservice to them to not put Lamar Stevens out there. And if it were up to me, I would rather run Lamar Stevens out there than Dean Wade. I know Dean Wade is a fine shooter in the regular season that works, but in the playoffs, I'd rather have Lamar Stevens out there because I know Lamar's going to live up to that moment. I don't know if Dean Wade's going to live up to that moment. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but I know fourth quarter, I need a rebound. Lamar Stevens probably going to get that for whatever reason. He turns into a different dude when it matters the most. But that's my thoughts on that game. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have a good night.